Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, your post-race edition for the 2018 Hungarian Grand Prix. Holidays are here. 8 races in 10 weeks. It has been intense, but one man who will be, I think, the happiest going into the holidays is Lewis Hamilton. He has extended his championship lead over Sebastian Vettel with a victory here on a weekend where Mercedes, after practice, looked like they were going to be the third fastest team. Of course, qualifying was affected by the rain. The race itself today was massively affected by how the tyres played out with the extreme heat, no return of the precipitation that we'd seen on Saturday. So Lewis it was that came home in victorious position today. Second was Vettel, third was Raikkonen, but a few laps before the end it hadn't looked that way. Valtteri Bottas had held that second place for the majority of the race, but struggling on his tyres, couldn't keep Vettel behind. There was contact between the two. Bottas ended up falling way back. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. Anyway, Hamilton, your winner, Vettel second, and Kimi Raikkonen in third.
Yeah, the last couple of races have been really particularly good, but we've got work to do. But I'm really proud of what we've achieved till now. We've definitely had ups and downs in this championship. Geez, what a roller coaster ride it is. But the team just remains strong. We just try to be diligent in everything we do and just keep on pushing and just giving it everything. And if you look at the last race, could have only dreamt of coming out with a result like that, considering the issue we had. We also had the reliability issue in Austria. I think we would have even more points, obviously. But really happy with the last 2 races, back-to-back wins, particularly with the rain yesterday. So it's really just about maximising as many in every scenario that you're faced with. And even if it had been dry, we would have tried to have maximised and done the best we could. But the Ferraris had the pace this weekend, as they have a couple. Particularly, this is a Ferrari circuit in that respect. But the race was different. I had great pace in the race, and I was able to utilise the tyres in a certain way that kept them a long way away.
Podium to finish the weekend, but could all have come undone in the last few laps. Talk us through the moment with Valtteri and talk to us about just the condition of your tyres having to follow him for all of those laps.
Yeah, obviously we should have been ahead, so there was something not going entirely correct, but obviously once you're behind it doesn't matter, and I had to find a way past at the track. But knowing from the first in with these yellow tyres, with the soft tyres, that they will drop off at the end and the rears will be in trouble, I wasn't rushing with 30 laps to go to pass him, so I was sitting back and waiting, and then for the last final or the last 10 laps trying to close in him and knowing that I will get more and more in range to try and do something, and that's what we did. So turn 1 he defended, and I got a good exit out of turn 1 and had DRS. Obviously I had more traction with my rears, that generally the tyres that I tried to take care of earlier to be in that position. And then I think I was ahead, and I was quite surprised when I got the hit from behind, but I think he had no grip being so close to me at that point. We've seen I got caught out in France, I think Kimi got caught out, one of the Haas's got caught out in Silverstone. When you're so close behind another car, then practically had no grip at all. So I'm not surprised he locked up, but obviously we were quite lucky that he didn't take us out. So I could have had a puncture as well, and then it could have been quite a disaster. But in that case, obviously it was good to get the move and get ahead.
Kimi, another outstanding drive. You are the most consistent performer in Formula 1, always on the podium. Talk us through your afternoon.
Not always, only to be
pretty much
twice and never finishing the race. That's for sure not the idea, but that's how it goes sometimes. And it was okay, but I think already yesterday I was deciding a lot what the outcome in the race is in, let's say, normal conditions. So nice to be on the podium. It would be first or second or third time would be a bit more nicer than it's a kind of norm, and it doesn't feel great. So we'll try next time more, but I think we have a good speed. But it's a tricky race circuit to pass.
Is it frustrating that in the last 2 races going into this break, you've got an improved car? They were races that should have suited you guys, but you've not come away with the win.
That's how it goes, and then you take what you can, and the podium is not bad, but it's what we're looking for, and it's still an awful long way until the end, and so many things we've seen over the last some races that how quickly things change. So no, we need to keep pushing down, improve a little bit small things, and I'm sure we can get the highest podium position. But yeah, it's small things that will decide it, and just be kind of consistent and up there every weekend.
Now, we always arrive at Budapest expecting Red Bull Racing to be the team to beat because they are traditionally the most aero-efficient team and it's not all engine dependent. They'd looked good all the way throughout practice, but qualifying caught them out massively. Daniel Ricciardo starting the race outside the top 10. Max Verstappen not able to get himself up into that kind of front row starting position that had looked likely to be theirs after practice. In the race itself, Verstappen made a good start, but then cruel fate robbed him of any chance of a better result. A retirement, we believe an MG UK failure on his car. The airwaves turned blue, as they do quite often at the moment with these guys and their reliability issues. Daniel Ricciardo fighting from outside the top 10. Tricky start to his race, fought his way through, contact with Bottas just a couple of laps from the end, but he brought it home for a brilliant fourth place. So here's Daniel Ricciardo and here's Max Verstappen on a contrasting day of fortunes for the two Red Bull drivers. And I think a weekend that promised so much and ultimately delivered nowhere near what they had hoped or expected. That was a hell of a drive today, man. Was it fun?
Thanks. First few laps, not really. I was getting a little bit hit around turn one, and then I've said it was Ocon. I think it was Ocon, but let's call it just a Force India. Went to then pass on the outside of turn 6, but was never going to make it. So he then cut the chicane and stayed in front of me for 2 laps. So that was frustrating. I was on the radio saying he's basically killing my race because he shouldn't be in front. I thought about cutting the chicane myself and getting back in front of him, but eventually let me pass, and then we could set a rhythm. So once we set a rhythm, it was fun. Then the battle with Valtteri, I wouldn't call it that fun. I felt a bit of a knock on the inside, but then passing him back, that felt good.
Hey Max, keep it clean, but I know you're going to be frustrated.
Yeah, of course. And you know, we had a bad qualifying, and I think we made that up immediately in turn 1, and then I was back into the race, let's say like that. And yeah, then to retire so quickly onwards, it's very disappointing because the whole season already, you know, we tried to stay positive and try to be calm about the straight line losses we have, but then also to be so unreliable, it's just really bad.
Now, P5 at the flag today was Valtteri Bottas. As we said, he was second with about 5 or 6 laps to go, but he was struggling on tyres that had completely gone. The softs, the rear of the car started to go, and Vettel, who was on the ultras, was ready to pounce. He did so down at turn 1, got into the DRS going down into 2, and Valtteri went up over the curb. Did Seb close the corner off, or did Valtteri just get it totally wrong? Either way, I think clumsy rather than malicious, and he damaged his front wing in that. That allowed Vettel through, that allowed Raikkonen through, and it then put Daniel Ricciardo right onto the back of Valtteri Bottas with just a couple of laps remaining. Down into turn 1, again, Valtteri was on the inside, Ricciardo was on the outside, but with his front wing damaged, no downforce there, Valtteri, as late on the brakes as he could, just slid in, and again, with no downforce on the front, he's understeering in, makes contact with Daniel Ricciardo there too. So, yeah, very clumsy end of the race to Bottas. You're going to hear from him now, but he has been called to the stewards. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what the stewards say. But he did finish so far ahead of the next guy, that even a 30-second penalty, I don't think will change his position. Anyway, we'll let you know about that at the end of the show. Here's Valtteri.
You know, I think even without the Ferraris would have been difficult, but they definitely made me to push harder than I wanted for the tyres. We wanted to do one stop, but we had to stop a bit too early than we wanted because to cover Kimi in the beginning. So we're still committed to one stop, and everything was feeling fine 20 laps before the end, but then the rear started to go. And yeah, then we had a bit of battle with Sebastian, then with Daniel, and then it was all a bit of a mess.
Talk us through the moment with Seb.
So Seb got very close into turn 1, I covered the inside. He had a good run into turn 2, he still had the DRS and the double zone signal detection. And yeah, I was on the inside, I still had my kind of nose just inside of him, and for sure he saw that. He turned in quite early. For me, that I felt there was nowhere to go, so we touched. I was the only one who got damage. Fair enough. I think racing incident, we both didn't give up. And then with Daniel, with a broken front wing, I was trying to defend. He was breaking late on the outside for me in the inside. Yeah, he still committed to the corner from the outside. He turned and we touched.
You're going to have to go and see the stewards after this. Can we just, I guess, you're looking forward to just getting out of here and going away now?
Indeed. I think a little break will be good. Not to think about the sport for a little bit. Then come back.
So Bottas finishing down in P5. In P6, a great result today for Pierre Gasly, who has punched well above his weight on a number of occasions this year. Qualified brilliantly in the rain, raced brilliantly today to bring home a fantastic result for Toro Rosso. And actually, it had looked like a great weekend for Toro Rosso pretty much all the way through, with both Brendan Hartley and Pierre skirting around the edges of the top 10 in every practice and qualifying session. It was Pierre, though, that brought home the points today. P6 for him. Great way to go into the holiday.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, fantastic to finish P6 and just before the summer break after all the tough races we had recently. I think for the team was the best thing we could do. So everything went well this weekend. Yesterday was fantastic, but today is even better. Yeah.
Talk us through the race. When did you feel it kind of come to you? When did you know you were sort of safe in that position?
I knew I had to overtake Carlos at the start because the top 5 was much faster than us, and that's what I managed to do into turn 1. And then after I had free air, so I just tried to focus on my driving, tried to do the best I could with the tires, with the fuel, and try to be as fast as I could. And we managed to put a good gap with Kevin. And 70 laps was really, really long, especially in these conditions. So tried to stay focused until the end, and the car was great, strategy was good. So just so happy with the result.
Now, on a day of some frustration for the majority of the Formula One field, one team that has a lot to be happy about is Haas, with the exception of Ferrari and Mercedes, the only team to get both of its drivers home in the points. Kevin Magnussen coming home P7, Romain Grosjean after, well, it was a frustrating day for him, but he's got a smile on his face at the end of it anyway, comes home P10. Rich reward for the team at the end of, let's say, a first half of the season of some tremendous highs, some little wobbly lows.
Yeah, not so frustrating for me.
No, it's one of the rare few.
Yeah, I was quite happy. I mean, had a good first lap, gained some positions, and took it home from there. Not a very eventful race, but except for the first lap. So that's fine for us. We scored a double point finish for the team, and that's a good way to go on holiday now.
That's really good. That's really good. The race was frustrating like hell. Couldn't do anything to overtake. We need to understand how to get the tires better in those circumstances. It's just boring for everyone, I'm super frustrated right now, but I spent like 50 laps behind Sainz being half a second to 1 second faster, and as soon as you get into close to the car in front of you, it just goes and there's nothing you can do. So if you don't play your life in turn 1, then the race is very compromised. That was a bit of a shame. I think when we had free air, we really did a great job. We jumped Hülkenberg and Hartley, showing that we've had an amazing pace. But then got some traffic. Fernando could pass us. Some luck with the McLaren. But generally, I think we had a great pace. So it's good to have the 2 cars in the top 10. Really, we've had a good weekend, and the race pace was so much better than the P10.
Now, really a race of 2 halves today for McLaren. Hey, folks, it's Gilles de Ferran. Say hi, Gilles.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you? How are you enjoying things?
Yeah, I'm having a great time. Kind of this constant state of tiredness, working very hard, but...
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, exactly. But to be honest, I'm loving it.
Good. Great race for your guys today. The strategy was great to play that game, to do the overcut, get both your guys up there. Talk us through it, because Fernando obviously home in the points. Stoffel, I mean, that's heartbreaking for him, that failure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the bad,
Okay.
And that was heartbreaking. At one point, it did look like we had a double points finish in our hands. Stoffel was driving a great race, and it was a real shame. But I think on the positive side, we had good pace on both cars, and that really helped us tremendously. I mean, the guys in the strategy team really called it perfectly. We had great pit stops, so overall, despite the disappointment with Stoffel, we come out of here, I think, with a positive feeling.
Do you get any holiday now? Or is it nose to the ground? I mean, I know the factory's got to shut down for 2 weeks, but are you going to be at your desk sweating over papers for the next fortnight?
A little bit of both.
Okay, so you are going to get a little bit of a rest?
A little bit, yeah.
Good. What can we expect from the team in the second half of the season?
I think we only control our own performance and we just got to keep stepping forward, make improvements to the car every race that we go, and that's the only thing we can control, and that's certainly what's on my side.
Cool. Good luck. Great to see you, man. Thanks.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the break. Lovely to hear from Gilles. Enjoy the holiday, my man. Now you're going to hear from Fernando Alonso, as he said. Fernando did come home in the points today, played that overcut beautifully. Stoffel had the new chassis this weekend that he'd wanted after the disappointments of the last 2 races. It worked for him. He was just, I think, 1.92 seconds behind Fernando at the point of his retirement from the race. So it was looking great for him as well. But Fernando Alonso back home in the points on what was, for him, a great day here in Hungary.
Yeah, I think it was a good Sunday for us. Happy Sunday. The strategy really works perfect today for us. We stand the first team quite a lot, like 15 laps more than the others. And thanks to that, put a good position 8th and 9th for ourselves. Unfortunately, Stoffel had a gearbox problem. If not, it was a perfect Sunday. But nevertheless, we have 4 points for the team, and today was thanks to the pit wall and the strategy. So well done to them, and now time to relax.
A frustrating weekend for Renault, I think that much is true. There was a point in qualifying which Carlos Sainz sat in P3, but he ultimately started the race in 5th, was looking to, sit tight in his position, knowing that it's difficult for anybody to overtake here in Budapest and bring home the points. Didn't work out like that. Teams made the overcut. Tyre strategy came into play. Carlos at one point looked like he might be out of the points altogether, but did manage to bring home points. Not quite so for Nico Hülkenberg. So I think for both of them, an element of frustration after some really positive races. But going into the break for Carlos, at least a couple of points for him to take into the summer holidays.
We clearly lacked a bit of pace in these hot conditions. Our car being so tough on tires that just doesn't like these conditions. But still, starting with the soft, lacked quite a lot of grip into turn 1 and turn 2. Got pushed wide by the Red Bull there also, and yeah, we could have probably kept a bit more positions, but in the end we were having a better pace on the soft, and just when I was starting to get a bit into our rhythm and good pace, we suddenly boxed and we were stuck in traffic, and we got overcut by the whole field. So not very happy with that, and yeah, just summarizes a bit my season. Good, decent up until now, decent pace, decent everything, but just the results they didn't come in the end.
Now, it's been a difficult week down here at Force India. You may remember in the preview show we talked about the rumours of the team being thrust into administration. Of course, that all came true on Friday, and it came out in the wash that the person responsible for putting the team into administration was Sergio Perez. The initial reaction to that was, how could Sergio put the team into administration? Well, Sergio himself released a statement last night, Saturday night, stating that a creditor of the team had requested a winding up order against Force India F1 team, which put the whole team, all 400 employees, at immediate risk of their livelihoods and their futures. What Checo then did in that case was asked to put the team into administration rather than that winding up order, thus saving, for the time being, the jobs of those 400 people in administration under British law. Essentially, the team continues as it is until a new buyer can be found. Sergio said it was heartbreaking for him to have to do it, but ultimately it was the only way that he thought, and certainly the people around him thought, that they could save the team. That means that from now, for the next few weeks, Force India is actively now talking to these supposed investors that have been waiting in the wings for some months, and by the time we come back to Spa for the next Grand Prix, we expect Force India will have new owners and their future will be clearer. As I understand it, the team had been skirting around the issue of administration ever since May. And again, we were talking about Germany and the fact that Checo in Germany, for the first time since May, outscored Esteban Ocon, for the first time since China outqualified him. And you can almost start to imagine that if Checo had had this in his head all this time, since May, And that finally on the weekend of Germany they decided that that's what they were going to do, is put the team into administration. Finally it's like this unburdening of his soul. You're going to hear from him now. Terrible race really for Force India today, all decided with a dreadful qualifying, not the way that the team wanted to go into the holiday. But I think listen to Esteban and listen to Sergio now, particularly Sergio in his words of the burden he's had to carry for the last few months, but how there is a positive future that lies ahead. Glittering edges, silver linings, shall we say, to the clouds that have fallen around this brilliant team.
No, exactly. A difficult race for us. Even after a good start, got a good couple of stints. We tried to keep the runners behind, which we managed to do for 5 laps. But yeah, we just struggled with the pace basically. So we need to progress and come back stronger after the break.
Very tough couple of months. I'm just very pleased that now we will have some break. I really need. The last past months, I've been everything but not a racing driver, no. And I've been put in a position where drivers shouldn't be there. You know, if we are at this level, you have to work hard to develop yourself, to work with the team, and so on. And I was just not able to do that. You know, I had to do so many stuff out of the car that hopefully once I come back to Belgium, it's all over. I want also to define my future. I don't want to mess around anymore. I really want to focus now on being a driver, because I mean, if you look where I am, still top 10 in the Drivers' Championship and a lot of potential, so we should be coming a lot stronger.
Another weekend with no points for Williams. It has been a very frustrating start to the season for them that has come nowhere near their expectations. We're going to hear now from somebody that I've come to greatly admire over this first half of the year. Sergei Sirotkin doesn't have the results to show for the effort that he's put in the first 12 races of 2018, but he always has something positive to say. He always, I think, reflects on what the team's done well, the big advances that they've made compared to the last weekend. So I think we'll leave the move into the summer break, the last words on this team and what this race represents to the guy I think who's been most responsible for really pulling them up by their coattails to where they find themselves now, which is a much better position than they were at the start of the year, even though competitively it's just as bleak as it was on day one.
Honestly, I think we have to be happy with the race. It has been a tough race. Obviously, I've been quite unlucky with the strategy when I went out. I had a better tires, but then obviously I had a Sauber car ahead and Lance ahead, so I could not do anything more than just to manage the tires, manage the temps, and just do the stint, waiting for clean air. Then once I got a clean air, there were so many lap cars coming, and then in the last laps you saw how tricky it was with the quick cars fighting for the bigger places, and I was just behind them, obviously losing a lot of pace, a lot of tire. But I mean, time to time, I think we were as quick as, I think it was Marcos ahead of me. We were as quick as him, even probably quicker. I know he was on all the tire, but still, I mean, it is a decent pace we were having time to time. So, it's tough, tough year, tough race, but we have to kind of think about positives. And I think today, from what we had, and from what we could aim for, I think we did a really good job.
Now, after a first half of the season in which this team has been, I'm going to put it out there, the surprise of 2018. They finished the Hungarian Grand Prix, I'm going to say, probably the most disappointing race for them of the entire year so far, given how high our expectations have come to be for them. Ericsson out of the points, Leclerc retired on the first lap with contact in the opening couple of corners, and yeah, a big disappointment for them. We're going to hear from Ericsson now, at the end of what's been a great start to the season, but I don't think any of that should take away from what has been, as we've said, a phenomenal and surprising start to the year for Sauber. So little was expected, but so much has been achieved.
I don't know. I think it was very compromised by turn one when I had a collision there. I got squeezed between two cars and just went up in the air for a second and off track, and then basically was last after the first lap. And that was difficult for us because we were stuck behind the two Williams cars, and obviously it's difficult to overtake around here. So when the Budget safety car came out there early in the race, we went for it and tried to do a super long stint on the medium. which we did, and it worked out. We managed to beat the Williams cars, but obviously we wanted to fight higher than that. So quite a long afternoon, but not the best one.
So that is your lot from Paddock Pass here in Hungary. That is your lot from the first half of the season. And what a roller coaster it has been. Ferrari versus Mercedes, Lewis versus Seb. Disappointments for Kimi and Valtteri, both of whom I think deserved race victories in the opening gambit of this year. They haven't had them. It's gone instead to their teammates, and we have got a battle royale into the second half of this year. I'd say I can't wait to be in Spa, but I can. It's been 8 races in 10 weeks. Everyone's exhausted, I think in the best possible way though, because we've got a great season unfolding in front of us. Thank you so much for following along. Thank you for all your comments. We do read most of them. We try not to react to some of them. Enjoy the break yourselves, and we will see you in a few weeks' time when Formula One comes back from its summer break in Spa-Francorchamps. See you later, folks.